Hey there. Thanks for hanging out with K-Dubs and listening to the podcast. Much appreciated. Check us out on YouTube. Shoot us an email. Let us know how we're doing. Hanging out with kdubs@gmail.com. And as always, enjoy the next episode. All right, let's get it done. Royce, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out here and hang out.
No, thanks, Kyle.
It's been a while.
Appreciate it. Yes, it has.
I'm trying to think of the last time that I seen you, but it was probably at a pig roast party or something somewhere.
I think we were at Crandall's. Your mom and dad were there.
That's right.
We were out going there for the high school function, one of the things.
That's right. That's in the parking lot we've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crandall's does all sorts of that
They
stuff
do.
over
They
there.
had a great deal over there.
It's
wonderful.
It's phenomenal.
Yep.
Pop that mic up just a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Now you're crispy. So you got a pretty unique life that you've living and that you're living now with everything that you've got going on. Just even like starting out of high school. I'm not going to tell your story for you, but
Right.
why don't you let's jump right into this thing and what happened when you got out of high school? What'd you do? What'd you decide?
Yeah, so I don't know. I was, we had a pretty cool recruiter hanging around from the Marines and thought, well, the Marines might be my way and whatever. So I talked to him, was working for a truck driver, Large on Trucking. They're out, God bless him, he's gone now, but I was working on his trucks at night. And then a young guy, he's in Harvard now, he had a sewer and water business. He worked for one of my uncles. And I was like, I'm going to go to work with him. I'm going to drive a truck. What do you want to do, Royce? And I don't know. I want to do everything,
You want to do it all.
Yeah, I was just, I think I can handle most of this, but if not, whatever. So the Marines, it didn't happen. There wasn't much going on. Desert Storm was over. What am I going to do? Go hang out for 4 years and waste my time? And if there was something going on, I probably would have been a little more apt to doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just the American way.
Yeah, so there wasn't much happening. There's probably somebody that probably needs it more than me, and I wasn't a school guy. So I wasn't going to take any classes when I was in there, and they were talking to me about demolition. I said, I know all about demolition. I bust shit all the time. Anyways, so I went to work for a small sewer and water outfit. They were a non-union company, did real well, had a lot of fun, learned a lot, started out as a laborer, started running around, backfilling, doing some stuff like that. Then I got driving a lowboy, so I was running a truck. Then, if anybody knows me, which there's plenty of people that do, I get a little excited. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't
not
be.
You.
Maybe I shouldn't be out here hot rodding around, moving machines at night, trying to run them during the day, and this. So then, I just wanted to start looking down. It's just being an operator, getting, stop trying to do everything and just do something that I was pretty good at.
Yeah, stop being the wearer of all hats,
right,
and not be good at anything and just concentrate on being good at one thing.
Exactly. So, fast forward 10 years, and not even that long, 5 years, working for a guy, a small company out of, McHenry, Lundy Miller Excavating, good guys. My first employer was Bob Beam, Beam Enterprises, good guy.
Okay, yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Over just your neighbor. Basically.
Kinda.
Yeah. Anyhow, so I went by them, and then, I was getting guys coming around and people stopping on a job and black cars, and what do you want? Well, it was local 150, and they were looking at, hey, would you, what's going on here? So, I don't know. I drove the lowboy here, brought the machine here. I'm going to take a foundation. I'm going to go home.
The way it should have been.
And
the way it was back then.
Right. And they were looking at me. They said, you're a pretty talented guy for being 22 years old. Would you ever think about, going this route? I said, well, what are you paying? I found out what the money was and everything. I said, well, hey, it don't sound like such a bad deal over there.
No, probably not.
Lo and behold, as time went on, I ended up getting into the, local 150, and
which is a good.
Been there ever since. I mean, yes, I have worked for 7 or 8 companies. We went through a recession and different things have happened, and never was a paver, mostly dirt and underground work, but that's pretty much what I'm still doing to this day.
Yeah,
I probably will be doing the rest of my life.
We need people like that.
Yes.
the country needs people that are willing to do that stuff.
Yes.
Not just pavers, but to come out and dig septics and sewers
Right.
and all these things and retention ponds and things like that. We need people here to do that, because if we don't have those people, that stuff doesn't get done.
I've been doing a lot with the company I work for, but I still do a fair amount with my local. So there's a couple guys I've been talking to, but we need to start, in my opinion, and I think they're along with me, but we need to start advocating to these younger kids that college isn't really always going to be the answer. Why go get in debt? Why can't we come here, learn a skill? You're going to need that skill the rest of your life. Somebody's going to need to dig ditches. Somebody's going to have to put up power lines, ComEd. Somebody's just put natural gas in. So we need to start bringing these trade schools back to these schools and getting these people on board. And I know we can get people to get on board. You know, animal nutrition, that's a good thing, but they don't push none of that stuff. They don't push the science with other things. They just push simple stuff, and it's very discouraging.
It seems like the schools nowadays are always pushing college, right?
Yes.
College. And I know we're getting off subject here a little bit, but I don't care. This is the route we're going down.
No, we can stay on the subject. It's fine for now. That's how we work. We shift gears, and away we go.
We're pushing college. That this is the right thing for people. It's the right thing for kids. I disagree, because not everybody is made for college. I wasn't made for college.
I certainly was not.
I tried college. You know, I tried going. I was working a full-time job at that point. I was working for John Deere, Harvard Implement, Harvard, and I was going to college after work, trying to keep my grades up and trying to do the right thing, and then still trying to be a good employee. I just couldn't do it all, right? Because my parents didn't say, hey, we're paying for your college. No, I had to pay for it. Right. So, and that was just a local college. And I was like, you know what? School's just not for me. I'm going to do something different. So I quit a year into it. And we need more things like the 150. Right. We need electricians. We need plumbers. We need trades. We need iron workers. We need guys and girls that can go out here and say, hey, I'm not going to go spend $150,000 on a college education.
Yeah, well, Uncle Joe's never going to bail everybody out, because it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
And then have $150,000 in debt for the next 30 years that you got to pay.
And when you get out, are you going to make the money that everybody trumped it up to be? Like, you're going to do this. No, you're not. And I mean, it's sad but true. Wisconsin's blowing us away on this right now. I
can believe that.
139 is doing amazing stuff. The Carpenters up there are doing unreal stuff. They're grabbing kids in 8th grade, freshman year, getting them, talking to them, showing them, you know, hey, there is money to be made while you train. And it's pretty cool.
The tradesmanship, the trades thing is awesome for that way, right? Because we're going to bring you on and we're going to pay you a good salary, right? But we're going to teach you how to do this. And once you get done learning how to do this, then we're going to give you a great salary.
And you're going to be here, and then some company could pick you up and take you wherever.
Exactly. But the other thing that I want to bring here up too is college is for some people. There are some people that are brilliant people.
Well, we're going to need professors, and you're going to need doctors, and you're going to need veterinarians. There's stuff out there we're going to need, but you can't flood that market with a bunch of people that can't tie their shoes.
Yeah, that don't know how to do that, right?
They're not going to do that. They're not backgrounded in it. It's not for them.
Exactly. And in my opinion, is if you are one of those people that go to college, pick an education that is useful.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into any details on what isn't useful, but pick an education that you can learn, that you can get a job into, that you can be successful in.
Right.
Because those are the educational college diplomas that are going to benefit.
They're going to work.
Everyone.
Right.
They're not only going to benefit you, they're going to benefit your family, they're going to benefit your future wife or future husband or your kid,
and
future
the community.
Kids.
I mean, they're going to help out your township, your county. I mean, you just can't. There's so many throwaway things that I don't even want to get into it either.
I just figured
that money laundering. You know, it should be illegal, but anyhow, that's just my opinion.
Well, it just sucks that I just see some. You know, I talk to people that are even quite a bit older than me, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm still paying on my college debt." Yes. And I'm like, "What? How are you still paying on your college debt? You're 45 years old." Apparently, That's just the way it is. Now, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a veterinarian, I understand that because that's 10 years of college. Okay, I get it. But you're also not making $50,000 a year.
No, right. And you're going to come out, and we need them people.
Absolutely, we need those people.
You know, there's certain classes that you could take that are going to help even to get into the trades that I'm in. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
CPR and this, and, you know, there's some... It's remedial
building trades and metals and woods
right.
and wood shop, and all of those things will help get into the 150 union or to the carpenters union or whatever the case may be.
The laborers, I mean,
exactly. Or hell, just be a hard worker. You can get a laborers union as long as you got people that'll back you up and say, Royce, you're a hard worker. We want to hire you.
I got a funny story. So
I like funny stories.
Well, when you said hard worker, so probably I don't know. I think 2006. I was working for one of my uncles, digging foundations. I was just digging basements every day. Dig 2, lay out 1, dig 2, next day lay out 1. 2-3 weeks. Okay, we're going to take this whole city, you know, this block and subgrade it and respread. So I was kind of getting bogged down a little bit. I was bored, and that happens with Royce.
No, really?
So I was like, you know what, man? I said, I'm going to try my hand. I'm going to bail out on you here. We were slowing down anyways, and there was some really good guys he had working for him. So I said, you guys take care of them guys. I'm going to try my hand. Put my name in a list out of hall. Got called to a company, Kiewit Western, biggest company in North America. Didn't know anything about them.
I've never heard of them if they're the biggest company in North America.
So Peter, it's called PKS, Peter Kiewit and Sons. They are from Omaha, Nebraska. Yellow trucks, black hood, whatever.
Gotcha.
Go there. They called, you know, I just had another kid, a lot of stuff going on in the world. Holy Christ. So they call up and say, hey, we need a night shift, guys. I never worked nights in my life. So I was plowing snow, and it's the most miserable thing in the world. Some people are wired for nights. This guy is not. This big red face needs the sun. True story. Get out there, and I don't know, you know, go to O'Hare Field. You know how long I've been to O'Hare Field? I went in, got on a plane, flew away. Worked out there 6 years for a company I never heard of, doing stuff that I would have never dreamed in my wildest imagination. Only for the simple fact that I showed up, did my job, and had a good attitude. They asked me, you like your job? Of course I like my job. It's how I keep my lights on. It's how I feed my family. It's how we pay for the stuff we got going on at the farm. You know, this, that. I mean, everything is off of what I, you know, do during the week. So.
Yeah, it's definitely off of your income there. So
right.
Your kids are able to have the lives they're able to have, and you're able to take care of your wife and keep the lights on, the food on the table. I get it.
When the guy pulled up, and he asked me where I was going. My story, you like your job? Sure. And I was breaking concrete. I was on a concrete crusher. It was the most miserable thing in the world. I like my job. Well, I got a 50-50 shot. If I say no, I'm going home by the end of the day. If I say yeah, I'm going to be stuck on this thing the rest of my life. Well, about a month later, they come up and say, hey, you're going to be our foreman. You're going to take all the scrapers. We got 3 million yards of dirt for you to move. Get going. Kind of like what your eyes did. I says, well, all right, Royce, here we are. Let's go, buddy. Put your big boy boots on. Looking at my boots.
They just made you a foreman just like that, huh?
Mm-hmm. It was weird. But it's kind of, I was saying, it goes with your attitude. Yeah, I get revved up. Yes, I probably say stuff to people that, some of them may or may not be here. I don't know. I didn't ask. They left, and I just went my way. But anyhow, that's how it is. You know, do I sometimes wonder? Maybe a little bit, but that's life, you know? I mean. So
they made you a foreman, and did all you do was crush concrete then for them at that point in time, or were you doing other stuff?
Yeah,
for them too?
That time that was in the middle of winter, so they kept me on. So I went there running a dozer, and so everybody knows I cannot stand running a dozer. I hate it. I was pretty good at it one time. I don't have the patience. Road graders, I have zero patience for that. You line me up with we had some pretty big iron out there, but anyways, I'll take a 470 is what we got now. And a pair of haul trucks, 6 haul trucks, a D8, an 815 compactor, and a finish dozer. And I'll just go to work all day long and dig the ponds, put the roads in, build the pads, respread the ponds, and I'm on to the next one. When you start getting tedious and ticklish, I'm out. I am out.
I can see that though. That does take a patience.
Years ago I had it, but I never really. It wasn't like. That isn't what drove me. What drove me was just dirt flying and just iron moving. I mean, the more yards I moved today, the bigger smile I had.
And that makes sense because you feel like you're accomplishing
right.
something, right?
Yeah.
So when you're digging that basement or you're digging that pond or you're grading that road out, you feel like, hey, I'm accomplishing something here because I'm doing all this. But when you sit down, you do asphalt and you only move whatever 100 yards in 2 hours, you're like, come on.
Yeah, the pavers, they're a special breed too. You know, I just never got into it. It was hot. But then them guys are set up too. They don't do nothing. They got a 7-month window, so they're running 80 hours a week for 7 months. So they're going to make
ass.
Yeah, they're going to make that what a normal guy makes. You know, or like I'd say 10 months. You know, you're going to have a couple months off.
Whatever. Whenever the weather permitting.
Yeah, they jam it all in because 32 degrees they ain't paving. So
right, exactly.
Right.
So then you became the foreman, and
it's at Kiewit Western for quite a few years. This is kind of still in between high school. I got out in 94, so 94. I don't know, 10, 12 years later, I'm working for one of the largest companies in North America, and I'm like,
and you're a foreman.
Yeah, and I'm from Kennewick County. And half the guys were from Denver, and the other half was from the East Coast. The Denver guys were great. East Coast guys, That's just how it rolled.
Hey, whatever.
There was some good ones. I mean, I still have some friendships with a lot of the men, Operators were 150 guys, and there was a lot of good people. But, I think now, where I'm at now, I'm over by Pease Excavating. I think I'm back to my roots, We were friends when we were younger, and now we're back working together again. It's full circle.
And I think you're probably a little closer to home with Peace too, right?
Yeah, we are.
So are you still a foreman then for Peace?
Yeah, operating foreman. It's kind of nice, I guess, when I was a foreman for Burger and that, everywhere as I go, I always start as an operator, so they know the talent level is there. Not that I'm bragging, but
before you bring somebody in to run a job or to run a company or to be a GM, you want to make sure they got their boots laced up the right way to run that specific application.
That's and it's just like one of them things. So then it's funny now though, because I'll be running today. I ran a dozer for a while, well, most of the day, and I was annoyed. But then if I get annoyed, I don't eat as much. So then I say a little skinnier.
Perfect.
When I'm sitting in the pickup watching guys go and getting excited, guess what? I think I'm going to go get these guys lunch. And then I come back, and then Royce has 3 hot dogs. So, anyhow, there's a lot of good stuff going on, though, as far as in the industry and what we're doing as far as that.
Yeah. Talk me up.
So... I mean, when I started this, we were just doing ponds and septics and detention areas. Now, all the good ground is gone. So I call it corn digging. The corn digging days are over. When you go out and you'd put a subdivision in and, there'd be several different sewer companies behind you, and they could put 1,000-foot of water main in a day. That's your greatest feeling in the world.
Wow, that's impressive.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It seems impressive to me.
There's guys that used to get that all day long, and they can't. It's hard now. All the easements, all the right of ways are so full of stuff. You got, think about it. 25 years ago, we had ComEd, AT&T, Ameritech. Now you got you got this, you got that.
I didn't even
all that
think
stuff
about
is
that.
in the ground, or if it's not aerial, which most of the stuff's going in their easements, so you can't. Look at all the fiber going through these farm fields now.
Fiber optics going through, and oil lines are going through
natural
fields.
Gas,
and,
right. All that has changed because of the population. So the corn digging days are long gone. So now that changes what we've been used to.
So, yeah, I never even thought about that because, like you said, all of that stuff is now here where 25 years ago it wasn't. So if the corn digging days are done, what does that move to for like your guys' application today?
So we'll get one good corn digging job, and it'll be this is awesome.
I'm sure there's some good ones.
So what you're finding now is a lot of remediation. So you'll find there's going to be a demo site that had a building on it. Usually it's a big factory, because these buildings now these are box buildings. Amazon, Uline, Who else is in there? There's a bunch of them. We do a lot of work for Duke Realty and different people like that. So they'll have a big piece of property. Well, it might look like gravel until you get down about 2 feet. 100 years ago, there was a steel mill here. So you're down in the city, which looks good, which changes the whole thing. So now all the urban fill is contaminated. It's got to go.
So what happens to all that?
Landfill.
You gotta just take it right to the landfill.
Or if you can keep it on site, it's already there. Everything's contaminated. It's got to stay there. But then it could be unusable. So like when Nick was on the other day, that's when you bring in a rock solid. Okay, so now
to compact the ground instead of dig it out.
They treat it. Well, we get it out. We do our cuts and fills, and then they treat it. And a lot of times these sites they'll change elevations. Years ago, Chicago flood, a lot of that around O'Hare. It's pretty low there. I mean, it's 607, 615. That's
I think
elevation of sea level.
I think my elevation here is only 618 or something. It's not that dramatically high.
No, right. I mean, you don't notice it driving, but I mean, you get out by the lake and it's pretty flat. I mean, 600, you're 600 feet above sea level. That ain't much.
That's not much.
So you get into that, and they'll change it. So then you'll take material from somewhere else in the job, put it up there. They'll process 25, 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, it was a little bit, but you just decided that wasn't going to be the buildable site. We'll go to the next one. They find a really nice one. Now, them sites are gone, so now you got to get creative. Same with the stormwater runoff, storm traps. Different things are going on, and you can put a storm trap in, and it still be same volume of water instead of a pond, and you got a parking lot there.
Okay, so I got to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
What's a storm trap?
So a storm trap is basically your detention pond that you would see at a school or at a park or at a big subdivision. Concrete floor, concrete sides, walls. You could drive on them. So you dig them, pour a floor, concrete guy pours the floor or whatever. Then it comes in pieces. They can be stacked, but they could be 3 stories, and not 3 stories, but they're like 8-foot sections. Once you dig, so obviously you're gonna have a blueprint on how deep you have to dig. Right.
And then, if I'm understanding this, they come in with concrete, lay a concrete floor on the bottom.
There'll be a floor, and you'll have a 1 foot on the outside edge of it. You'll have a 1 foot slab. So
concrete slab.
Yep. So that's your floor. So your trap will be in about a foot from the floor.
No shit.
It comes in. So then they could pour a little cap on the bottom to keep it from sliding. They pour a little cap there. Then they, where all your seams are, you just wrap it with roofing material, that rubber seal that goes over.
Wow.
Backfill it with stone. And then all the water for the job goes in there, and it sits in there at an elevation. And it can only go out so fast because with all the building and the new roads are bigger. I mean, everything's bigger now.
So do they put tile that leads down to this?
So your storm sewer will come in. So whatever all your storm sewer goes in there at this elevation. Whatever, 605.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, right. And it's gonna sit in there and stay in there till it gets to a certain elevation when it leaves. But it can only leave at a slow amount. You can't just let it all dump out at the same elevation. It would be useless. It would just be
and then all the rock would go with it too. I'm assuming you plug things up.
On the inside, it's clear. It's just like a big doghouse or a shop.
Really?
It's got a concrete roof, concrete sides. You can walk around in there.
No shit.
Uh-huh.
And those are underneath parking lots usually or something.
Lots and everything. And each one it's almost like a semi-tanker. They got an 8x8 piece, and it's got a weir in it, so the water can't just go flying out the other end. It keeps filling up.
That's
it's basically like a giant septic tank.
Unique.
Because on your septic tank, you're going to have your inlet coming from the house.
Yeah.
And then all your solids are going to build up in the bottom and stay there.
Your liquids are going to flow up the top.
Same deal.
This is the same thing.
But instead of being a 6,500-gallon septic tank, it's like 60,000-gallon septic tank,
That is awesome. Well, it's good. It's
controlling all the erosion. It's controlling all the mosquitoes. You don't have an open pond for the goose shit, the ducks, the Wonder Bread feeders throwing all, because that just pollutes the water and it ruins it.
Well, and the other
muskrats chew it all up.
And the other thing too is it saves a lot of room.
Yes, because it's all usable space.
Well, like I was telling you before, you come out here to my hometown and they're building storage units out there.
Yes,
and of course, on the one side of it, they got a huge retention pond out there. Well, now if you're in the city and you don't have that kind of room to have a huge retention pond, you can literally put it underneath the parking lot
or
to make that retention pond,
the courtyard,
or whatever the case may be, to put that underneath there to make sure that water can drain the right way. And man, that's really, really awesome thinking on engineers' parts right there.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
cool.
is.
I mean, because there's a guy that went to school back to college that was an intelligent guy that it's pretty cool. We draw some of our own storm traps. They're not quite that big and fancy,
elaborate and everything else.
But they, I mean, they're nice. I mean, we do a lot of stuff ourselves now.
Yeah,
everything.
That's just really cool that you guys can go in there and do that.
Right.
So when you guys like dig out that dirt or the soil to make that retention pond or what did you call that?
The storm traps?
The storm traps, yeah. Does that all got to get hauled out, or can you use that for the base of the new building you're going to put in?
It might, depends on the material. If it's really good material, you can use it. If it's mediocre material, we can chemically treat it and have another company come in and treat it for us.
Okay, so tell me that process, because I've never heard that before.
So
to chemically treat it. So
it's just like what Nick was talking about. So when they were doing roads out west, out in North Dakota, they're bringing in with the same thing, either a lime, fly ash, a cement. Usually the cement's on the last lift at the top. And they'll put that in. But that's what we'll do. So if you don't have, like in the city, that's the problem. We don't have the room to run the disc. We got farm tractors with discs, just like we disc the farm fields. So we go around and around. Well, if you don't have the room.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So if you didn't have the room to make it for the new building or whatever the case may be, I mean, is that something that gets hauled away, or do you just compact the shit out of it at that point?
We'll keep compacting it and use what we can use. There may be some berms. If not, it gets hauled away. Whatever is unusable that we can't treat to use in a parking lot.
Bye-bye. It goes away.
See ya. So, and then nowadays you got a 663 number, which it's got to get tested, so it can't be contaminated. If it's contaminated, you're going two ways. You're going to Grace Lake or you're going to Joliet. Laraway or Countryside.
Whichever.
Both landfills. And
whichever landfill's closer.
Yeah, but it's expensive. So
yeah, landfills are super expensive.
And that's some of the work we're dabbling in now too nowadays. We're getting in a little bit of landfill work, which is, I think that's the greatest thing in the world, myself.
Really?
Yes.
What are you guys doing for those?
So before they can even build a land, say they got a landfill that's going right now, they're filling it. They got a piece of property right next to it. You got to dig down into the bottom, haul all that material. Usually that material's good.
Well, yeah, that would make sense that it's good because it's untouched.
Right. Well,
I mean, maybe the first, 100 yards or something from the landfill, maybe that's a different story.
Some of it could have been filled over the years, but it's still good, usable material. So you stockpile that somewhere for a future date. Then you got to put a liner in, an HDPE, highly density polyurethane liner, and they weld it together with irons, and then you cap it with sand.
So that's a steel liner?
No, it's plastic.
It's a poly liner?
That thick. Yeah, I don't know what you would. Okay, so
I don't know jack shit about landfills.
I don't know, but anyways,
they're a larger piece of property. They put garbage in.
Right, but they can't just dump it on the ground, So
Correct.
we got to go in there, build the slopes, put the liner in, cover the liner with clay, with wet clay, so stuff you hauled out, now you make that wet, which makes no sense to me in the dirt world, because why would we want wet material? But we're always trying to dry it for compaction and everything.
But clay's a whole different ball game, right?
It is.
You get clay dry, and that shit is harder than concrete.
It's awesome.
Harder than concrete, in my opinion. That thing can just get solid.
And those are the same liners, same idea we had in them ponds down at O'Hare, that 3 million yard pond that I dug down there. That's the same thing we did.
You dug that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The one at Irving Park in Manheim.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was probably the best job I've ever. Just the engineering and the floor space, just the bottom flat floor, was 40 acres. From bottom to top was 120 feet. I fell down it one day, slid right to the bottom. It was good times, but
I'm sure it wasn't.
No, I made it.
You probably had a big backhoe then to dig all that out, huh? Or were you guys using like dozers to push it up?
We used Challengers, 865s with double pans. We had a D8 bump in them.
No kidding.
But it was a honeycomb. The way that there was a bunch of companies. I mean, you name a company in Cook County, they dumped there 50, 60 years ago. Lindahl, Deach, Plum. Everybody had a chunk of the airport because it's 8,000 acres right now.
Yeah, it's
Flat
huge.
Acres. So
it's huge.
Go back 1950s, 60s, way before my time. Everybody was working out there. So it was a farm field. So they just kept dumping dirt from that side of the airport here. So we'd find a nice hard road. And I'm like, don't touch that road. And I'm a 24-year-old kid, but I'm not a moron. Don't touch that road. Why? I said, that's what they hauled down in here in R190s and B Model Max, and they filled this thing with. That's our haul road. Right away, some of the wizards would come running out. Look at that clay. They're rubbing their dick beaters together and just going after it. And I'm losing my absolute overload. Mine said, stop. That's ours. We need that for our haul road. And if it got too nasty and snarly, just like you said, we took a 470, a bunch of haul trucks, and a D6 working to them. They would get into the nastier stuff. Then we had an 8 bumping the scrapers. But we moated it, so if it rained, that we had the water going here, and then we kept working because if we flooded the airport once on accident.
Oops.
Yeah, it happens.
You'll have that in your small jobs, right?
Mm-hmm. It was good times, but what are you going to do? I mean, I was sitting at home talking to Debbie, holding Nathan, my middle son, and then WGN News, here comes 747, his wings are flapping about 2 foot down. There's all this water. The phone's blowing up. They go, get down here now. I just went out there with a 470, and I started smashing the tops of these structures in just to get the water going. It went all in that lake, and we weren't even close to being done. It was a mess.
Oh, man, that sounds like a mess.
So, live and learn. So I'm getting smarter as I'm getting older, I guess.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Right.
The older we get, the smarter we get. We might necessarily work as long or as hard, but we work a little smarter. That's the theory.
Exactly.
So what'd you end up doing for that specific application?
For the flood?
Yeah, for the flood.
Well, the flood, we were screwed because that's when the plains flooded. A lot of stuff around there flooded, so nobody could take the water. And all this water went into a 140-foot pump station with like 8 different pumps on different deck levels where they were poured.
Mm-hmm.
That could pump to the Salt Creek. Well, we went out there and HDPE pipe, like 24-inch, welded it in place. Went out there with a bunch of like 12-inch pumps, electric pumps, fired them up, and
hope to God it worked, huh?
Oh no, that worked. But then we had issues with stormwater management because the Salt Creek went from flood stage to it quit raining like a month ago. Why we got all this water still? Guilty. So
my bad.
Yeah, but it was a nice shot in the arm for a lot of guys. They got paid for pumps, and the job went like 3 months longer because it took about 3 months.
Oh, I can believe that.
All the liner that wasn't covered, junk. The integrity's gone.
Really?
I mean, it was a huge deal. It was an insurance claim. I mean, there was 28 million gallons of water in that pond, and I said, if I had $1 for every gallon of water, you guys wouldn't see me or my kids or my grandkids ever again. And I was kidding about it, and they says, you might even be a little light on your numbers.
28 million. Wow.
3 weeks.
I'll have to look into that.
It was cool. It was probably, I want to say September 2007 or 8. I got pictures at home. I'll get them.
Yeah, I think it was 8. I think 8 was a wet year
yes,
here.
I do believe it was 8.
I think it was 8.
Yes.
8 was a wet year.
Because it was 2 years we spent almost digging that, but it was awesome. It was a gas. I mean, it was the coolest thing I've ever done. So I took all that they paid me to learn, and I'm just using it nowadays. Like the landfill. That's where we're going. The same revetment liner and everything. So you get into that. Well, then they put the clay on it, and then you put the sand on it and grate it. Now that becomes, because then it's sealed for life. Now when they put the garbage in, they put it up to a certain level. They throw a bunch of clay in there, compact it, keeps going down, down, down. And they just keep using our clay or their clay that we dug out, using that to cover it up. It's a great process.
Yeah, and then it just eats it all away.
It just
sinking.
Yep, and it never leaves. It just keeps decomposing right there, and it can't go out, nothing.
Because that liner holds it all into place, right?
Holds it all in there. Everything's there.
I mean, theoretically,
it
that's
does.
the way
No,
it's
it does.
It does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How thick's that liner?
Huh?
Do you know how thick that liner is?
It's probably, I want to say it's like 50 milliliters. It's probably almost half
shit.
inch.
That's
and it's in a roll. I mean, and when you iron it, it's just like when you see the gas company welding that plastic pipe together for the gas main.
Yeah,
It's identical stuff as that. Not as thick because it's got a roll, but they do the same process. Welding it. It welds together with a bead. It's really cool.
I'll have to look into that too.
It's really cool.
It's really interesting.
It's a neat process, and it's environmentally friendly. Nobody wants to put their garbage at the end of the road and see a pile, but it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Garbage has got to go somewhere, which I think that also brings up a big thing of recycling too.
Yes.
If you got plastics that you need to recycle them because they'll use them for those liners.
It's going to be in the HDPE liners.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're using the PVC pipe. It's going to be used in automobiles. I mean, look at all the cars that are plastic.
Yeah, a lot of them are plastic now. So I mean, when you can recycle your plastics to do that, it's really going to save on these landfills too. I mean, think about how much water do you buy that's in a plastic bottle that never deteriorates underneath the soil. Mm-hmm. So you might as well recycle that, get it gone, get it out of here, so they can reuse that for a liner or for new water bottles or whatever the case that they're going to use these things.
They will use them. It's guaranteed. It's
absolutely
all reusable. I mean, everything we use nowadays is reusable, just about.
It's kind of reminds me of like history when you think about like the Indians that were here when they shot a buffalo.
They used everything.
They used every piece of that.
The hoofs, the horns, the skull, the cape,
the fur, everything.
Everything, right?
And when we came here, we shot them, we skinned them, and then we ate some of the meat, and the rest of it laid there. And it's like, what? Come on.
I'm with you. Them Indians are 100 times smarter than anybody will ever give them credit for. Those are really, really amazing people. The way they survived. I can't shoot a deer bigger than 140 inches anymore, and these guys are stabbing them and barefoot and, some sort of hide on them, jumping out of a tree and stabbing a deer, and I got a $2,000 bow, and I can't stick nothing. I'm starving.
It sounds like it's a Royce problem to me.
It is.
Do you need to shoot that a little more often? Or?
No. It does pretty good.
So what projects are you guys working on now?
So we got, like I said, we got the landfill. We got a bunch of commercial, precast buildings. But we're getting into a lot of some, like, more residential, but not really residential. Senior living, the assisted living for the seniors.
Oh, yeah.
Not like a nursing home, but they live by themselves. Those things they're really in hot demand now. Really? Yeah. Because they do the memory care there. They're coming around with a lot of stuff back to going to college, but stuff for people that, they're assisted, but they're not like in a nursing home, so they got friends or whatever. But there's doctors there. They're helping them with their memories. They're just giving them some independence, but they still really aren't. Those things are popping up everywhere. So, I mean. So
is it like a big facility? And then
they're not that big. They're probably only 100, maybe 100 units. It's like an apartment building, but it's
okay.
It's for assisted living, they call it. They don't want to call it a nursing home, but and then there are some other things. Those are becoming very popular.
I guess I don't watch the news, so I probably don't hear much about this.
I don't think you're going to see it on the news though, because they're in demand for these beds, and I don't think they really want to talk about it. The news is very bias. If it's bad, they'll put it in your face all day long. If it's something good that's going to help everybody, whether what side y'all are on or not, if it's going to help, we're not going to hear anything about it.
No,
I mean, just it is what it is.
The news is one of those things where I think I told you this before. Since kind of COVID happened,
yes,
I basically shut the news off.
It's not what it used to be. I mean, there were some really, really good news anchors that were good. But they were complete morons, but they were good. At least they had some integrity.
The way that I looked at it, when I was growing up, and even you can agree with this, whenever you turned the 5 o'clock news on, you were informed. Right. You were informed on what was going on with the country. You were informed what was going on with the world. Right. You were informed what was going on in your community. And I think that in today's world, the news isn't that way anymore.
No, the news is going, look here. And look here.
Yeah, don't look here, but look everywhere else.
Right. Do as they say, not as they do.
Yeah, and that really bothers me.
It stinks. Lot. And the minute you find one that you think's pretty unbiased is good, it'll bite you in the ass.
Every time.
Because it'll be a next week, and it's just like somebody walked up and hit you right in the balls. Like, really? Thanks. That's
Appreciate
what I
it.
needed today.
Yeah, no kidding. Just what I needed after this tough day at work.
Right.
Even though I love my job, it's still a tough day at work.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I just, it's just so tough. It's just so tough to watch any of the big news. Me, if I'm going to watch any news, it's the British Broadcasting Company over there, because it seems like they're the most honest, they're the most upfront. Yeah.
Well, they lost the Queen, you know.
Well, I mean, even before that, they would still tell you, like.
I guess I never paid much attention to them.
You should look into them. Yeah,
It
seems like out of all the news out there, whether it's Fox, CBS, NBC, whatever, they're the most realistic.
Sure.
And I'm going to use that word realistic because in my opinion, they are.
Well, I'm going to check into it. I know, I see it. I just don't like the way they talk. I mean, this isn't Austin Powers and all the bullshit. I'm not, I kind of like how we are over on this side of the,
we got a lot of flaws over here.
We do, but
there's no doubt.
I still think we're far more superior. I really, really love everything about America. There's certain things right now in this time that my kids or maybe my grandkids look back in history and say, wow, Royce and K-Dubs, they were talking about, so they were way ahead of the curve.
No?
I'm not a people guy. No.
Yes, you're a people guy.
Yeah, I go to the fair with my kids and we sleep in a camper for a week. Good times. At least I know if I get kicked out, it's only 10 minutes to go home. We're not in Yellowstone. Get kicked out of National Park. No, I mean, but you want to go on these vacations and that. So if you make a little more, you're going to do a little more in your family. You're going to your kids might be really great in sports. You're going to send them to some other camps that might get them a look down the road at a scout or something.
Yeah, that might get them
or a more competitive team.
Exactly.
And they're going to have more fun at it when they're winning. Every time you win, I sound like Donald Trump, but every time you win, you feel a little bit better about it. You want to be competitive. It's human nature to be competitive. I think that's like the excavating and the farming. I mean, you want to grow the best corn. You want to have 250 bushels of acre. Everybody's going to want to do a little better.
Survival of the fittest.
And that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're watering it down, so to speak, these days and ages here. And
Royce, you're looking a little dry.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we better take a quick break.
Yeah.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Dan's Diesel Performance. If you're looking to improve your truck's performance, efficiency, or appearance, check out Dan's Diesel Performance. They manufacture turbochargers, fuel injectors, fuel pumps, transmissions, intake piping, and much, much more. Plus, they offer all the top brands in the diesel industry. They're located in Machesney Park, Illinois. Visit their website at dansdieselperformance.com or give them a call at 815-977-5865. We got to change the subject to.
Yeah, we could be here all night talking.
And
companies, and safety, whatever.
Royce, I love talking with you, but I really don't want to edit a 2-hour podcast. I've already done that once in my life. It's a pain in the ass.
No, we're not going to do that.
So we got to get to the Medula Cattle Company.
Okay,
good. The hat you're wearing, the hat that I'm wearing. And we're going to have a conversation about that. So how did that all end up starting?
So that's good. This is a great question. Pretty proud of it.
I would be.
So 20 years ago or so, well, anyways, a long time ago, I've always been around cattle. I had some really good friends. I helped them clip. We showed. We went to different things, whatever. I didn't have any kids at the time. Really didn't make much sense. So me and Joe Armbrust and Nick Armbrust, Nick was in high school. Me and Joe, Nick was still showing some steers, county fair level and that. So me and Joe, we went and got some heifers. We were going to sell. We're going to start breeding some of our own cattle and selling some show cattle to kids. Well, I mean, life is what it is. People get married, kids come, different things happen, whatever. So we kind of got off course with that for a while. He's back in it with his kids. I'm in it with my kids. Nick's in it with a lot more with pigs, but they got some cattle over there. But anyways. So I ended up raising a stepson when he was 5. So his dad passed. I ended up taking care of him. Turned out to be a great kid. And so he showed some interest. He wasn't a big sports guy, but he was competitive, and he showed some interest in the cattle. You know, we had some Holstein for feeding out, some other bullshit.
Yeah, whatever.
We went and got some steers for him. So I got him some pretty good steers and whatnot. And we did good. I mean, he went up, and he showed at Badger Kickoff. He showed a couple other jackpots. Did real well his first couple of years, so he stayed in it. Well, then he has a brother. Debbie and I had another son. He has a brother. He starts coming. He comes along with another brother. Well, now them two and their older brother, they all work together through, 4-H and that. Phil kind of didn't, he's in it, but he's, he's 26 years old. He doesn't want to hang out with his brothers. They're throwing shit at him, hitting them, poking them, and they're young. These kids come to me
brothers
and say,
being
hey.
brothers.
Yes, exactly. You know how it is. They come to me and say, hey, Dad, we found this heifer over here. Okay. I just bought it on online auction. What? Oh, I got this heifer. So now we're running Iowa, running Indiana, running Wisconsin, picking up heifers. They were a deal.
Okay.
Started looking at the bloodlines, and they're like 13. It's 12, 13 years old. I said, oh. And I look at bloodline. I call these guys. I say, my kids just bought these on your online auction. It's pretty good blood here. I don't know if you want to let them go. Oh, no, you got them fair and square. Come and pick them up. I just really need them. That's kind of how it started. Well, they started looking at cattle as like with an eye, thinking if I can breed that, I'm going to have a really good cow and get a calf through it. We'll breed it to an Angus or whatever. But now, I mean, it's grown to where they got 7, 8 really good cows that are throwing some good calves. And then
Good.
We'll show up at county fairs and do pretty well. I mean, we've won a couple times. They've had some reserves. They win classes. But the best part about it is I think there's some really good families that are buying from. They get the same buyers every year.
That's great.
And they get the same buyers. And they still are buying hogs. We don't really have the facility to be farrowing, a litter of pigs or whatever.
Yeah, farrowing's a whole nother ball game.
It is, and I worked for a really good guy, and it is, a lot of work.
Yeah, it's not only a lot of work, but you got to have the facility for it, too. You got to have the
gotta
buildings
be warm.
for it.
It's when you want them for this area, for our, Lake, McHenry, Boone County Fair.
You got it.
I mean, you got end of December, January pigs. You know what it's like here. North Dakota.
I know exactly what
70
it's like.
70-mile-an-hour winds.
It's cold, it's snowy, and
right.
and you got to make sure that the piglets will stay nice and warm at whatever that temperature is. That's been a long time since I've been around farrowing.
I mean, just in the barn, it should be like about 62 or
I was about to say
64
degrees,
right. Yes.
something in that range.
Yeah, it's just
all the time.
Yep. And then you get your buddies, and I mean, I don't know. I drink too much, probably a lot.
No.
The buttons are still up, but anyhow.
They are. You haven't had enough yet.
Yeah. So when somebody comes over to have a beer or something, we always get beer. So there's nothing better than looking at a couple new calves on the ground, on the moms, on a cow or on a heifer, and having a couple beers and just watching your cattle. You got to just stand there and watch. When you're dairying's a total different thing. You're there in the morning, you're there at night. There's a lot going on. But when you're trying a club calf and you see some young kids and then neighbors and their friends getting involved that you didn't think would be involved, that are showing a little interest, it kind of, that's how it all kind of started.
Well, and I'm sure that with your kids showing that big of interest, being out there at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning with mama's calving, and they're out there with you, that's probably something that you'll cherish.
Yeah, and then I've been out I was in Kansas snow goose hunting 3 years ago. Really nice red heifer has a calf. They call me, guys, I'm 640 miles away in, Claflin, Kansas, snow goose hunting.
Oh, boy.
I said, you think you got to pull it? He said, oh, yeah, I think we pull it. I said, well, see if we can get it. I'll call around. So I called Sean Townsend, a good friend of mine. I said, Sean, where are you at? He goes, oh, I'm over at Ryan's. I said, I think they might need a hand pull calf. Good. I'm going to get out of here. He goes, I got over there, and they already had it pulled. So that just showed, and they were 15 years old.
So they got it.
They're
learning.
So they got it. So I kind of just gave it to them and said, here, I'll help you. You help me. I'm going to get old one day. Whatever. If you want to drive me over and push me out on the side of the road, that's your business. You have to live it yourself. I really not want to go that way. But
just keep sneaking me some high life when I'm in the nursing home, right?
I hope I don't go there. But anyways, we're building them, but I don't want to be there.
I get it.
Yeah. So, but I figured if that's how it's going to go, and they just kept going with it. So, fast forward, 16 years old, says, I'm taking a truck and I'm heading up to a jackpot show. Him and his brother get in the truck, load up some cattle, and they're gone for the weekend. Where'd you go? So me and Debbie'd show up, watch them show. Guess what, boys? You got here on your own. You get home on your own.
Absolutely.
And they started getting it. They started traveling outside the state. It might have been a little illegal because they weren't old enough to have a truck and trailer and cross the state lines, but
catch me.
It doesn't really matter at this point.
Well,
right. Catch me. And what were they doing wrong? They weren't working for a cartel. They're not mule and dope. There's no fentanyl involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot bigger fish to
fry.
They're
learning.
Right.
They're learning. And to me, if you've got two kids who are ambitious enough, like your guys are, to load up cattle and drive 3, 4, 5 hours each way to show some cattle for 1 or 2 days and then to haul home.
And get beat up there and not come back with nothing but a smile and
an experience.
A learning experience. This is what we're going to do. And now they know we're going to try this. So then this turns it into this. So I'm pretty excited for them for the fact that I think there's going to be some pretty cool calves hitting the ground here. And there's going to be some neighbors and that are going to be getting they're going to be getting a little direction. Some of these kids are coming over and they're 10, 11 years old and they're helping them. And
that's awesome.
That just makes me happy right there.
Hell yeah.
Give them the calf. If you can help them later on in life, everybody's going to meet somebody upstairs. And if you did a couple good things, you're good.
I agree.
Period. Dead.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think everything in life is about money. I mean, money makes it a little easier,
but I agree with that. Right,
money
is not the answer.
No.
For instance, I have a Powerball ticket. Powerball's whatever tonight or tomorrow.
It's like almost $1 billion.
It's $1 billion right now.
Just take the payoff to 500.
Exactly, and see you later. But it's not.
I'm keeping my.
Absolutely, we're gonna go out for a steak dinner if that happens.
Hopefully.
Just so you know.
Yeah. McDonald's, I can pick my own seat. Perfect.
Oh, man. Oh, what the hell was I going to say?
No, the Powerball. The money isn't everything.
No, it's not. I mean, 2 years ago, I made a life decision to change careers. And that career was not instigated at all on money. I took a big pay cut to go to where I was at. But I want to be happy with life. Yeah, I wanted to be more involved in certain things, and I wanted to have more time to myself, and I wanted to have all sorts of other different options out there. And money was by far the key factor in that. Like I said, I took a pay cut to go to the job that I was at, but I'm happy with where I'm at.
Right.
I like the people I work with. I like the hours that I work. I like the benefits that I have. I like the time off that I can get. And all of that matters. I didn't know that 5 years ago, but today I do know that.
Right. Because I'm with you. I mean, there's certain things that I did when we were at O'Hare. I mean, it was 7 days a week. I missed a lot of Phil's stuff growing up. And I think, there's I don't have any, regrets because it is what it is. I can't go back and change it. It's history.
Exactly.
Democrats might want to change it. They could rip down statues and say this didn't happen and I'm an Uncle Tom. But anyhow, I can't change it. Nobody can change the future or the past. All you can do is live for what you got now and be as fair as you can be, as sinless as possible, and get through life just having a good life,
I plan for the future, right? That was the goal, is you try to plan for the future. But I've always heard the phrase, tell God your plan and watch him laugh, because that's a really good phrase. It really is.
It is
that
true.
Guy. That guy knows more than anything we will ever know.
Well, and then what he knows, he may not ever tell me. I don't know.
Oh, he'll tell me someday when I'm up there talking to him and go, hey, we got to have a conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. He might say, we got a rocky past, right? So we'll just Hang tight. But the cattle thing, back to that. So I think
Yes,
it's going to
please.
be good. I'm all over the road. I kind of tell a story like you're watching Dallas or something, or Dukes of Hazzard. We're jumping a mountain and then we're going
How
over
many
there.
cattle do they have now? Or do whoever have now?
They're all their cows. So I kind of got, it was not tough love, but it is tough love. You know what? Hey, Nate, you're 18. Clay, you're 16. Nate, here you go. Here's your complete feed bill. It's time to shit or get off the pot.
Absolutely.
So if you want to keep them, figure it out. If you don't want to keep them, you can sell some. I'll buy them and pay the feed bill, but then you're going to have to buy them back for me. And he's like,
you're going to figure it out.
Right.
You're not going to throw them to the wolves, but on the other hand, you're the leader of the pack, and you're going to say, hey, it's time to get a little dirty.
Right. And it's not, like I say, it's tough love, but it's
good.
They've been around. I mean, you've known the boys since they were little. You've seen them. Crandalls, the nail, whatever. You've seen them out and about.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're respectable.
Good kids.
They always say hi to everybody. Are they rough around the edges? Yeah. Do they fight with each other?
They're
yes.
just like their old man.
Right.
A little rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, they'll do anything for you.
Right. If they're going to help the neighbors before they're going to help me, I guess I did something right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, they're their cattle. I mean, like I say, I'm pretty excited for what calves are going to hit the ground.
How many do they have hitting the ground,
Right. Well, they just got done. They AI'd a bunch to, I'll think of it in a minute. I can't remember. But anyways, right. they AI'd a bunch right now, and now they're all sitting over in Greenwood in a nice pasture in the woods. But yeah, they're going to have 8 more calves. Hopefully,
that's awesome.
It's probably going to be, they're going to be later. They're probably going to be March, April. But we can get weight on them in April calves. We've won with April calves. Phil did really good with an April calf that I thought was not a good calf when we had it for him. And that thing just turned around. I mean, he just started going. I mean, we got a great feed program. So the success with it with them guys, they're a little more successful than probably I would have been at their age. Because I was kind of...
They're hungry.
I was kind of opening up a few doors. I'd say, hey, this didn't work for me. So you try this. And you try this. And they did. And it's working well.
Yeah, and I noticed that younger people are more hungry too.
Yes,
they're going to do a little more research.
Yep, they're a little smarter,
more than what you or I would do.
Yep, they're smarter
because they're 16, 18 years old. So they're like, okay, how do we get the best bang for our buck?
Uh-huh.
How do we put these implants in? How do we use this certain feed?
Yep.
So instead of gaining 1.1 pounds a day, they're gaining 1.6.
I mean, they're bumping almost 3 some days. And
exactly.
And when you need that, though, you need to hit them 3.5 pounds a day. For when we had that god-awful heat in June, when we had like in August and June. I mean, everything was just shucking hair, losing weight. Pigs were going, they don't want to eat. I don't want to eat when it's that hot out.
Nobody
I don't even want to drink beer, and don't ever tell anybody I said that. But I did
think
anyways.
That might be a lie.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a yarn. Anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good that they're hungry, and it's good they want to keep going because it can only grow up from here.
And I just want to see, there's a lot of local neighbors. I mean, there's a lot over here by you, by me, that got little kids. Nothing would make me happier or their mother to see them selling calves to the neighbors, seeing the kids do good. You're not going to win every show. You need a little piece of humble pie because that's going to make you want to go back after the next show a little bit harder.
I always loved showmanship.
Yes,
right.
That's because when you did what you did to get there.
Exactly, because the county fairs. I don't want this to sound bad, but it's going to sound bad.
It's all right. That's the county fair mentality.
You can always buy the best hog or the best sheep or the best steer, right? You can always do that. But when it comes to showmanship, that tells the judge who you are.
Yes.
And how much you know and what you did to raise that specific animal, whether that was a hog or a sheep or a steer or a chicken or a duck or whatever.
Or a rabbit,
it shows how much time that you spent with them and what you were expecting and what you did expect and what you were seeing. And I always loved showmanship for the simple fact of that reason.
We would go to different shows and, Wisconsin. I mean, Badger Kickoff is really one of the best shows in December in the Midwest. Calves are small. Everybody thinks they got hot shit. Everything is green and mean, and it's fun.
It sounds fun.
And the showmanship, and it's in Madison. It's close to home.
Yeah, it's only an hour away.
Right. And the showmanship is when it gets fun because you get some real good judges up there. I mean, we've had, Bobby Mays showed our judge showmanship. Great cattleman. Ryan Rash from Texas, he's up there and judged the whole weekend. I mean, that was cool. I told Clay and Nate, I said, hey, a little exciting out there today. He's got painted fingernails. He's got a coat that's worth more than all my shit in the truck. And he's got perfect hair, and he's from Texas. But he's a fruit. But he's a good man, and he's the fairest of the fair as far as judges.
That's all that matters.
Awesome. Dale Hummel, he's from down by Springfield, showed under him. And when you get good guys like that, they're going to tell you the truth. Don't sugarcoat it, and they don't. They didn't like
and
this.
If you sugarcoat it, they're good enough. They might call you out on that.
Right.
And be like, oh, really?
Right.
So are you sure that this is what you just said?
Right. Exactly.
And all of a sudden you start double check. You're like,
And then when you double clutched it, your Georgia overdrive kicks in and you're at the bottom of the mountain with no brakes. And then be gone, little man.
You're exactly right.
So I think showmanship is probably the best thing. Whenever we go anywhere, I don't care what happens, you're showing showmanship. If you missed your class, you showed showmanship. I don't give a shit.
My parents are the same way.
And it's cool because that's where everybody sets to start, is in the barn with a show stick, a halter, or a whip, or something. And if you're not doing that, if you got 5 people bringing them over, and God bless the guys that want to spend that much money to have them come over there. And I've seen them win, and I love to look at the cattle because they're beautiful.
Oh, they're gorgeous. Not only cattle, but hogs and
all
sheep.
Of it, yes.
You look at them and you go, God dang, I'd love to have that just one year.
Yeah, right. And not even, it would be not even state fair. Just be some cool, because here's what happens. Some
county fair, some plain Jane county fair, and you look at that and go, man, I'd love to have that animal.
I just, when you go, and I guess I'm going to piss a lot of people off right now, so I don't care.
Pause. I might need to delete this.
No, you'll be fine. So here's what happens. Here's my theory in life.
Let's hear your theory, Royce. Okay.
So we're
how many beers deep are you?
Oh, not enough.
Okay, well then this is from the heart then.
Yes, it is. But here's what happens. So everybody wants to be the county fair guy, and that's great, and I love it. And I know a lot of people that were those guys, and it was great. They're great friends. I have no problem. I always like to see them go out of town. Not even state fair, because if you go to state fair, it's everybody in your state. So you're kind of like Illinois. You're kind of McHenry County. So you kind of know the competition. You know where everybody kind of stands. I mean, nobody's dumb. I mean, these things here.
Yeah, no.
I mean, everybody knows who's doing what.
You got it.
So you get out of town and go to a Badger. You go out to Kansas. You go to Louisville. You might get beat up and banged up, but you're standing there with like the best of everybody around. And I rather see them get their dicks knocked in the dirt to that than to just have, and this is where it's going to piss them off, but it's going to be a popularity contest at a county level.
What do I have to do to beat you? And that's the way I would always look at things, right? And then showmanship always came to mind, right?
Yeah. Oh, no,
if I beat you in showmanship,
you're correct.
If I beat you in showmanship, you're not doing something right. Because if I beat you there, I got the shittier looking hog, I got the shittier looking cow, right, but I'm going to beat your ass in showmanship because I know my animals.
Exactly.
Right? So, and then it comes down to showing it, right? Showing that hog, showing that steer, showing that sheep or duck or chicken. What do I have to do to compete?
Right.
And there are ways around genetics. There's ways around high profile, high money things to compete.
So that's where I was kind of excited to see him go into these jackpots. And there's several families now. It's kind of cool that from our county fair, the same one you were at, they are now like going to different jackpot shows. And we're competing against each other, but working together in the same time. but we're seeing them things, and we're not spending the big money. You know, I mean, we won the county fair with a $2,000 steer.
That's impressive.
You know, there was steers there as well as anybody else.
That was double that.
It could have been. You know, there was more money.
Mm-hmm.
Not bragging, but it was all just like you did. They spent time with it, rinsing. We don't have a cooler. We're not. You know who's clipping them? They're clipping them and me. And I have too many of these. And I got one eye. I got a stigmatism. Guess what? We're
you figure it out. Yeah, you figure it out.
But
holy shit, there's a turkey walking through my front yard. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Just seen it through the window.
Very exciting, you know. We have nothing better to do than look for turkeys.
There's another one. There's another one.
Guess what? There's two sitting in this room too. So here we are.
Royce, we gotta call this, man. We're already an hour and a half.
Down.
We're an hour and a half in right now. We gotta. Thank you.
You betcha.
I appreciate you really coming out here and hanging out and drinking some beers and shooting the shit and it's been too long.
I tried opening up some of the stuff. I mean, I get too much stuff going on in my head and in the world. So we're on storm traps, we're on cattle, we're on shows.
You're good.
But you know what? We're well-rounded, and I think everybody should enjoy it. I sure as hell loved it.
I enjoyed the hell out of this. I really
this every
did.
day.
Yeah?
Oh, sure.
I could do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's my problem. It's like once I started this, it's kind of become what's the word? Obsessed. I've been
it's kind of an obsession.
With this.
Right.
Like,
you wake up thinking about a
okay,
topic.
Who do I need to have this week, and who do I have next week, and how do I edit this the right way, and can I find videos to edit this into the podcast, and it becomes an obsession because it's so much fun. It's a blast sitting here and
I hope people enjoy listening to our talking. I mean,
I hope everybody enjoys it.
Sitting in a bar, this is what we talk about, leaning on the back of the truck, looking at turkeys.
We just did.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's just you'll learn a little bit, but you're better off to
enjoy
sit and relax and just talk. And I think the world would be a lot better.
I agree.
If everybody was just a little more mellow.
Royce, I appreciate you, man. You're a great man.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.